Right then, welcome back to the channel. This time we're back with our Vauxhall Corsa because we've had more problems with it, and surprise surprise, it's more cooling problems. We just seem to have loads of cooling problems with this Corsa. Now it is getting on a bit, but it does give its fair share of coolant problems. I'm going to show you what's wrong. A little bit of a different video this one because I've actually already done the work, so I'm just going to take you over what I've done, what I've found, and I'll show you the damaged part. Now I'm sure you remember our 2010 Vauxhall Corsa. Used to be my wife, now it's my daughter's. And what mileage are we on now? We are on, I'm not sure if the camera's going to see that, 107,000. And as you know, it's gone through water pumps, which has really not done the engine any favours at all. I think that's been one of our major problems actually, that when the water pump failed twice, that it has caused some cooling problems. I think we may have a head gasket problem. It's not major, we're not actually getting oil and water mix, but we're definitely getting exhaust gases through the coolant, and it's also compressing the hoses. Might be able to show you that in just a second, whilst I show you what it is that's gone wrong this time. Just whilst taking a look as well, after the front end damage, you can see this is starting to rust. I really need to clean this up and at least put some cover on it to stop the bonnet rusting through. Let me just put the bonnet up and let's see if I can show you. Right, yes, you can see this is the problem. The hose is compressing, so it's getting a bit of a vacuum going on. And that's actually the area of the problem. You can see the white coolant remains that's splashed all in and around this area. And what it was, after the car had been ran for a while, we were getting a jet of water coming out of here. Just a very, very fine mist. But it was coming out effectively around this pipe. Now the pipe itself was fairly easy to take off. It's just one of these clips. Took that off. The pipe was intact, but actually what the problem is there's a plastic manifold. You can just see it here. I'm going to show you the old one in a second. The plastic manifold that mates up against the engine and forms part of the main water channels. It also has one of the hoses that goes back there, which is the heater matrix that goes into the car. One of the pipes goes that way. You can see there's a breather, and actually it's a bypass pipe that goes into the header tank, and then you've also got the main pipe here that goes to the top of the radiator. Remember, the radiator then runs along, you've then got it coming up, and the thermostat on this car is here. I think on some of the Corsas, some of the different engines, there's actually a thermostat here in this plastic housing, but not in this one. This one is just purely a plastic manifold. Yeah, so the water pump seems to be intact, everything seems okay, but we had a jet of water coming out here. Let me show you the old plastic manifold and you'll start to see the problem. Here is our plastic manifold. Now if I hold it this way up, you can see how it works. This piece here goes to the heater matrix pipe that I was showing you. This bolts onto the engine. We've got a temperature sensor here. This is the second temperature sensor. So if you do have sensor faults, check this one and the one that's over by the thermostat. Now you can also see the white evidence because I used rad weld in this to try and prolong more life. Now I think what's happened, first of all, you can see the gasket is in pretty bad shape, but that was okay. If I now follow it along, you've got the little relief pipe at the top, which again, that's not in a good state because of the sealant. But then you look down here, and this is actually where the leak was coming from, and you can see what's happened. The plastic has just gone completely brittle. I don't know whether that is age, number of heat and cooling cycles, or whether it's actually the rad weld chemical has damaged it. But yes, lots of bits were falling off this as I took it apart, and obviously the pipe goes up to that ridge there. It just wasn't sealing properly. Reasonably straightforward removal. First of all, we take this pipe off. Now this is on a plastic clip. I'm going to show you this in a minute because we've still got a problem with this pipe and I've got a replacement. Plastic clip there that allows you to take that one off. You can see you've got one of these hose clamps here. These are sometimes a bit tricky. If you've got hose clamp pliers, they work wonders, or quite a big pair of pliers, or even a mole wrench works quite well for these. A mole wrench is good because it grabs them and holds it solid. So you can then take that pipe off. There's not too much water because this is quite high up on the engine. You don't lose too much coolant doing this job. You don't need to drain it down completely. Then we need to get at the 3 bolts. You can see one silver bolt sat there. There's one underneath, and you can just make out another one down there. Now what I did, this plastic connector, actually I haven't put it back on again, but it slides onto there. Moving that out the way, moving the distributor cable that runs into the distributor for the spark along the top. Take that off, and I also took, let me see, is it this bracket? Yes, this is a single bracket that has 1 bolt, which is easier to get to. So undoing that then gives us a bit more spare room to be able to get into it. Oh, and also this bolt here as well, which allows you to move this pipe out of the way. Once you've got those, you can actually get at those star bolts there. Let me get the old one and I'll show you. Now these ones are, what size is this? E10. So an E10. Now the only problem that I did find is some of these larger sockets like this are a bit tricky. So if you've got a smaller socket set, it works much easier because the clearance, it's quite fine. It's difficult to fit in. But there you go. So 3 E10s. You can see the position of them when I hold it like this. Makes it a little bit clearer for you where things are at. Don't forget, disconnect that connector as well. That's where that top bracket was, and that is the little pipe that is actually still damaged. Now I don't know if it was damaged before or whether I damaged it removing the clip. Let me get you the replacement. I think was about £6 or £7. Let me get you that and I'll show you that pipe. And that's what we need to replace finally. And here it is. One end, this end here is the one that pushes onto the expansion bottle, and the other end here would go like that. Now you can see it has got a plastic clip around it to help remove it, and it has a notch so that it only fits on one way round. Now I think when I was removing this I may have damaged it because this piece, the end piece here, the larger piece that actually helps seal it, was missing, and whether that has snapped off inside, it's quite difficult to tell, to be honest. So I think what we'll do is we'll go and remove the other one, and let's have a look at the state of it and work out what's happened. So to remove it, you see, you push it out over like so, and now that's pulled out, it should just lift off, and you can see the difference now. Oh, I forgot we've got coolant in there. Hopefully that's going to stop and it's not going to empty all the coolant out. But yes, now I think it's very clear what the issue is. that was completely snapped in comparison. So let me quickly get on with this so I don't lose all of my coolant everywhere and get the new pipe in. Okay, quick temporary fix just to hold that in place. And then what we can do is open this, take this off, and let's get the new pipe on. Let me find that. And now we plug that back in, that on the top, and that should solve it. And that's the clip back on, holding it in place. You can see it's now stopped the leak. We're now just push this back on. Clip the pipe back on. And there we go. That's all done. And there we go. That's the brief guide of doing that back together. Hope the video has been useful. If you find it useful, pop a like at the bottom and remember to subscribe to the channel for some more videos. Hopefully not on the cooling system of a Corsa. I keep saying that. Eventually we'll not have to do any more work on the cooling system. So what problem have I found? Well, this little pipe decided with the plastic clip, even though the clip's on, decided to pop off and lose a load of coolant when it was pressurized. So you can see cable tie and a circlip to hold it on. We are still getting compression of this pipe, which means there is a vacuum forming. So I'm not sure if that means that the cap there is at fault or we've got another problem going on. So I'm not really sure at the moment what's happening. I'm going to try and bleed the system a bit and see if I can solve that. But there you go, an extra little something. Might be worth using cable ties on that pipe because that clip or the replacement clips don't seem that great.